All right. So where is everybody at today?
I'm John. I'm in my camper in the driveway.
Oh, nice.
I'm Sharon. I'm in Rochester, New York, near a canal.
Awesome. Hi, Sharon.
Thor from Atlanta.
Hi, Thor. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, Mike Lassiter from Atlanta as well.
Awesome.
And I'm Stacy from Atlanta.
Hi, Stacy. I'm Melanie, one of the co-founders of Bava, and Lauren is on. She's starting the presentation as well, so we can get started.
Yeah, so like Melanie was saying, my name is Lauren, and we are the co-founders of Bava, and we've been in operation for a little over 8 years, so we kind of have somewhat mastered the remote working environment. So we'd like to go ahead and start and talk about, how to thrive in this world that we're living in now, and yeah. So key takeaways for today, we're going to talk about adapting your skills to fit a remote environment, staying motivated while working from home, balancing work and kids, learning healthy digital socialization ideas, finding your productivity mindset, focusing on skills you need to better communicate, collaborate, and perform. We'll talk about best practices for managing virtual teams. And then we'll also talk about delegating tasks and successfully providing feedback. So obviously, going remote, we feel like it is the future. It's obviously right now because everybody's remote right now, but we feel like in the future, even after all of this has happened, companies will start to embrace the trend of remote work to attract, top quality talent, for their workforce. We feel like it's in demand, so workers are really beginning to expect remote and flexible options from employers. And it's good business. We saw a stat a couple of months ago where companies that offer remote-friendly options, they are seeing less turnover in their business. So, like I said, it's in the future, it's in demand, and it's also good business.
Yeah, and depending on if you've been working remote before or if this is new to you, there are a lot of benefits working this way. It can offer a lot more flexibility with your schedule. You can take time to go to that appointment if you need to. You can make sure you get your test done early if you need to make a dinner or like a kids event or something like that in the evening. So it offers a lot more flexibility. And time with loved ones, same thing. It goes along the same idea. As long as you work it into your schedule, you can have more time with them. And also not sitting in traffic helps a lot with that. Especially when things are normal here in Atlanta, that definitely applies. There's also a lot of tools that support remote work. We're going to talk about a lot of those today, but because of technology today, it makes it really easy to work successfully remotely. And you can do more of what you love no matter where you are. Let's say you want to go on that vacation at some point when we can travel again, but you don't want to completely be cut off from everything else. It's easy to work remotely a few hours a day if you're at a different location if you'd like. And so it is a good idea to have a remote structure because just like working in an office with people, it's good to have things set just for yourself and for if you're working with a team. So setting the foundation, making sure your company vision is very clear, extending your core values to include remote ideas so it can be for everybody that's working in a remote space for you. and also maintaining the culture. There's DaytoDay Solutions that we're going to talk about a lot today, about creating a workspace, focusing on communication, increasing productivity wherever you can, staying motivated. And then also team management. If you have a remote team, it's really helpful to have defined procedures, developing a team environment that goes back to the culture as well, and using the tools that we're also going to talk about as well today.
There's a little background noise. If you're not talking, can you go on mute? So we can... So now we're going to set the foundation. So basically, if you have a company that is in person or in person for the most part, there are things that you do need to build to get the productivity that you want. With our company, we have seen that when we tie our culture, our vision, and our values back to what our team is doing, we saw things align more clearly. So with the vision and the values, make sure they're specific to your company and they clearly describe, what you offer and how you offer it. And then use language often and so that your team and your clients know it. For example, if you have an internal messaging system, it's good if you have an internal messaging system that your team uses and someone does something really well and you want to shout them out, tying it back to company vision and your values is super important, especially during this time when everybody is remote, because if you're anyone that longs for the human interaction on the day-to-day basis, that kind of, I guess, collaboration and communication about what that person is doing to align with your vision and your culture and things like that can be really helpful. And then on the culture side, just it should align with your vision and your values, and then you want to hire based on, company culture fit, and also set guidelines to create a remote community.
Yeah, like Lauren said, we saw, we didn't really know how important these kind of foundational things were working remotely until we put them in place. And we just saw like our team, both, people working with the clients as well as our internal team, really start to align in what we wanted our vision to be with Baba. And it really made a difference. And we always went back to the culture and the values and what we wanted to provide for our clients. And it just became very clear for everybody involved once that was set. And now we're going to talk about the day-to-day solutions. We're going to spend a lot of time on this, giving some tips and information, what we found along the way, working from home. First thing, it's great to have a set workspace for yourself. So you're not working in the middle of the kitchen where everybody else might be around. You're not, and also where you're relaxing. So on the couch, it's hard to work and then also relax there, because then you might get too relaxed for working, and then when you're relaxing, you might, be inclined to work. So it's good to have a dedicated workspace. Whether it's an office you have or a little corner or like a part of a table that you can set up that's just dedicated to it. It's really important to have that set. And you have a workday routine. So let's say you were going to the office and you had certain things that you did in certain ways. If you're now switching to remote, you can try to have the same routine as much as possible. And that will help you stay in your work mindset throughout that schedule. And we've also found that block scheduling and taking breaks helps a lot. So block scheduling is scheduling out chunks on your calendar for work time. So whether it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever works best for you, you have set tasks that you want to do during that time. And once that's done, you take a break, or go on to the next thing, whatever works for you. And it really helps to keep on track to make sure that you're getting the things you need done when they need to get done. And breaks are really important. Just to kind of get a refresh, a reset with your brain. I notice that, I might be stuck on something, on a task that I'm doing, and if I take a break, I can actually think clearer on it and then come back with fresh ideas. Working normal business hours, so keep that set routine, and so you're not working all hours of the night, getting up super early and also working all day. Keep those normal business hours, and then you can separate, your life and work as best possible working from home. Having a separate phone line might be beneficial as well. You can get one through Google Voice, I believe. That's easy to set up. Noise canceling headphones. Say you have a lot going on in your background at home, and it gets distracting. So sometimes we put on noise canceling headphones, and it kind of blocks everything out sound-wise. You can dress for work. That might get you in the mindset to work as well in your home office. And establishing work-life boundaries. So that's also talking to the people that may be in your space as well, kids, husband, wife, other relatives, even friends if they live there. Making sure that they're respecting your work boundaries as well. And we'll go into that a little bit more in a minute.
So I'm going to pause the presentation for a second because we have you may have seen this, you all may have seen this before, but this is just a funny little video of a guy a couple years ago that, it talks, it's just a funny little video that we wanted to share with y'all.
Happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals? And what will it mean for the wider region? One of your children has just walked in. Shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change? I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. My apologies. What North is going to mean for the region? My apologies. North Korea,
we can't see the video. Can anybody else see the video?
The last 6 months.
No, we see Lauren.
You just hear it. We hear it and have no idea what's going on. Is there a way to bring up the video?
Hang on one second.
It's a really funny video. Like she said, you may have seen it, but it's worth it, I think.
The sound enough is bad. I'm like, I feel so bad.
All right, let's see.
There, I think we'll see it now.
Okay.
Scandals happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals? And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. Shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change? I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. My apologies. What North is going to mean for the region? My apologies. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months to a year.
Let's see. So as you can see, working from home with children can be very fun, I guess I should say. Just getting back to the new share. They make technology very fun nowadays. All right, let's see. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So, so that's a little bit about just a little funny video from, I'm sure, a lot of you are probably experiencing, if you are working from home with children. So I don't have any children, but I do have a dog, but he's nowhere near what it might be like, with a child at home. But so working from home with kids, you want to kind of create a schedule that almost mimics what their normal day looks like. With older kids, utilize your virtual classrooms. I know Google has put out, I think just today or yesterday, put out some more tools to working remotely, more tools for kids to be able to work remotely. But for the younger kids, just writing out their schedule, posting it, and like I said, trying to mimic that of their regular school day, even down to, recess or art time or whatever it is. There's so many different things that are being offered right now. Whether it's virtual field trips, there's some read aloud activities, there's, fitness classes. I saw where I think Disney World has a website where you can go on their rides, but the virtual field trips, you can go to the San Diego Zoo, you can go to the Louvre in France. There's so many different options to be able to, create that normalcy for them as much as possible, so that they're not sitting on your shoulders like the guy in the photo. And then obviously, when with your coworkers, over communicating that you do have kids at home, making sure that they know that, there might be distractions when you're on videos or conference calls, things like that. Try and set boundaries with your children. We saw the other day that somebody created an art project with a stop and go sign, and when the stop sign is on the door, the kids don't hopefully go in. When it's green, they can go in, but just creating those boundaries so that they know. And then, taking breaks when needed, meditation sessions, yoga. We're doing a midday yoga today with our company just to, kind of get people, give them a little break during the day. And then if you're in the position to do so, we've heard that this has been really successful, is switching off with your partner somehow, creating that schedule so that you can switch on and off with them if they're on kid duty and then you work, and vice versa. So.
Yeah, and I will say that, I don't expect it to go perfectly. And as long as, like Lauren said, you're communicating with everybody that, your environment does have kids in your family and things like that, people understand. I think we all get, if a kid were to burst in here, it just happens. You can't control everything, and just do the best that you can and try and put those things in place to, try and set the boundaries as much as you can. But that's all you can really do. And so with your potentially remote team or with your clients, working remotely is, different, and you have to stay on top of communication as much as possible with everyone. We've found, if you're not over communicating almost, sometimes it seems like it's overkill, but, if you're not communicating as much as possible, things can get lost, or just not passed along, something like that. So you might see your first problem might be in this communication area. And so it might be your first pain point. And even if you do stay up with communication, since you don't have the face-to-face interaction, some things can get lost without, seeing people's facial expressions, or you can't read tone in the email very well. And so things might get, miscommunicated or something like that. So be open for that and feedback from people if they give it. And just try to be over generous and stuff like that too, because you don't want to come off the wrong way, and just you want to be as thorough in how you present the information as you possibly can in a virtual setting. And we do recommend, obviously, video as much as possible, because that's definitely helpful. Here's an example, if you're a happy, positive person, but cold and terse over email, for example, you might be smiling when you're typing the email, but there's no, lightheartedness in the text, it won't come across how you want it to. So it's really important to think about how you are speaking in addition to what you are speaking. And some ideas, using emojis, everybody knows, if somebody puts a smiley face, it's all good, for sure. So those help a lot. Even just keeping it lighthearted, sharing dog photos or memes like this silly one here, and Slack as well. We use Slack with Bava all the time. And it's a really good way to just be in quick communication with everybody and even share these silly things, like if you have a remote team, it's not all about work all the time. That goes back to the culture too and team building in a virtual setting. You can send a silly meme or have other people send memes, encourage people to communicate in, more of a friendly way, as in addition to professional work stuff. And, be generous with your interpretations of how people are also speaking to you. If an email or text comes across and it seems a little, not so friendly, you could be like, well, why would this person not be friendly? There's really no reason for it. It's probably just coming across that way. Give people the benefit of the doubt. And if it becomes a problem or you're still wondering, it's good to just talk to the person, get on video call or phone call and be like, hey, I just want to make sure we're, on the same page, everything's well, and I'm not missing anything. And having a good, like I said, virtual water cooler, as we call it, is what Slack is. It's just a place for people to kind of hang out during the day in a virtual setting. And, our team passes along our, information about our values and our culture and just kind of make sure everybody's still a cohesive team, even in a virtual setting. It's really helpful that way.
And it cuts down on email.
Definitely.
If you communicate your day-to-day kind of activities in there, you'll see a lot less email, which I'm not a huge fan of tons and tons and tons of emails. So it is very helpful.
Yes.
So another thing that is super important right now is to make sure you're building rapport with your team that is remote. It's easy if you're in the office, you can just banter back and forth or, have one-on-one sessions that are in person. But especially right now when everybody is virtual, we need to make sure that we are still building that rapport with our team. Ask them how they spend their time. If they like to, I use yoga a lot, but like if they like to do yoga, then, set up an afternoon yoga session with them and just, do it together, like virtually. If they like coffee or, set up a virtual coffee date or whatever it is to just set up that meeting and make sure it is on video, obviously, but, just to continue that rapport building and continue doing it remotely. And then, like I was saying, schedule one-on-one meetings with your team each week, doing so by video as well, because it's really important to see, we think it's very important to see facial expressions versus just talking over the phone. You can really identify key things when you are on video versus over the phone. Hold remote happy hours, social events. It seems like everybody, it seems like an easy thing, like I'll just hold a happy hour, but like virtually it's fun. I mean, it's just a fun thing to do. We held a virtual pizza party last year for our team, and like everybody was raving about it. We just literally sent everybody on our team a pizza and said, get on Zoom at 3 p.m. and we had a virtual pizza party. And so things like that can really just help build and maintain the morale and the rapport of the team. And then you can also, celebrate events, celebrate accomplishments. If somebody's having a birthday, hold a birthday party. We saw somebody had it was a lunch. Somebody had a lunch where they sent everybody, lunch from a local food spot, and they, you know, met to eat at a certain time. And then also, you know, provide incentives and things like that. So those are all things that we've seen, at least over the years, help build the rapport and maintain the rapport and build the morale. And so now more than ever, we just need to be doing that as companies, because people are feeling a little bit alone, I would imagine. You know, I'm one of those people that it's just me and my dog. And so I long for these activities where I can actually like get on and talk to people. So, you know, that's just, yeah, like I said, what we found that has really worked over the years.
And I've gone a little bit into this already, but you know, how you communicate is just as important as what you communicate. And this is, you know, with anyone, with clients, customers, your team, but mostly with your team, with delegating tasks and making sure things are getting done. It's not only what needs to be done, obviously, you need to give as much detail as possible about what needs to get done. But when it needs to be finished, make sure you have a hard deadline. Maybe if it's due on a Friday, maybe have it due on Wednesday or Thursday, if that gives them enough time. So you have some time, some wiggle room. If something comes up, if something needs to get adjusted before the final due date, it's good to give kind of a fake early deadline just to give some wiggle room. How if you want progress updates, so if it's a bigger project that might be like a month long or something like that, do you want updates every day of the progress? Do you want it weekly? How do you want to stay in the loop of how things are going? Priority level, if you send over 5 different tasks to somebody to help out with, what's P1, what's priority 1, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So they know where to focus their time on first, because let's say they focus on task 5, but you really needed task 1, but you didn't really communicate that. It's just better to be upfront about that. There's project resources available to help keep track of this. There's like Basecamp, Trello, we'll talk a little bit more about this later. But there's online project management tools that are really good to help with all of this and keep communication for projects all in one spot too. So it's all there and not confusing. And keep in mind extenuating circumstances. Like I said, if somebody has an emergency and they can't meet a deadline, it's good to have a backup person, maybe even to go to if they can't complete the task, and just making sure that you're, you know, thinking ahead and planning around anything that might happen to be able to provide the work when it needs to get done.
Yeah, we talk about communication a lot, because you can never over communicate in a remote setting, you know, and we call ourselves communication enthusiasts because of that very reason. Like, if we don't do these things, and if you don't do these things, like so much can get lost, and deadlines are missed, and everything, and things are miscommunicated. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned a couple of these already, but there's the screen sharing platform, join.me. It's really easy to use. I think they have a free trial and maybe even a paid version as well. Slack, obviously there's a free version. I think there's a paid version, but our team runs great with the free. It offers a lot of different services for free. Doodle, if you've never heard of Doodle, if you're trying to schedule a meeting with a bunch of different people, it's a free thing you can find online that, that's okay. It's a free thing you can find online, so you can create a link for a scheduler, and you can fill in the different days and times you have available to have a certain meeting with everybody, and then you can send to everybody that you want to join, and they can say if they're available one slot or not the other, and then you can see when most people are available and schedule it then. So it's really easy and it's free to use. Zoom, like we're on right now. It's amazing. The free version, I believe, offers meetings up to 40 minutes, but anything longer than that is the paid version, and so it's really easy to use. Remo is it's $50 a month, I believe, as the basic plan, which is a lot, but it actually is a really cool thing that you can use to host a virtual networking event or a virtual conference. It has different rooms, different tables, all virtually on a platform, and you can join different tables to meet other people, or you go in a different room to meet the people that are in there, and it really is cool to see all of that happen in a virtual space. So that's still available as networking online.
Yeah, and you can also use it like if you're used to having, you know, everybody online at all times and you don't want to like schedule the meeting. I mean, you probably do want to schedule the meetings, but if you want everybody online at all times, you can go into Remo and like set everybody in a different room and then just go in as needed. And it like puts you on video, so you don't have to like, again, schedule, but we like for you to schedule, but you know, if that's something that you're used to, you can use Remote for that as well.
Yeah, and there's also other options too. There's Google Hangouts you might be more familiar with, Skype, GoToMeeting, WebEx, all of those things as well. We just mentioned a couple here.
Yeah, and then we've talked about a lot of these things over the course of the presentation, but these are just some healthy digital socialization tips. Use video to talk whenever you can, so you could see their actual reactions. You know, schedule virtual lunch times for your team or one-on-ones. Reach out to your coworkers just to chat. And you know, just try to mimic your office life as much as you can while being remote, because again, schedule and making sure that you kind of stay in tune with what you're used to doing is can be really, really helpful for the team and for you and everybody involved. And again, like I said before, you can host a happy hour, any sort of brainstorming sessions, just something fun. Obviously, we keep talking about Zoom, but it's probably my favorite tool out there right now as far as being able to connect with people. It's just really, really great, and it's pretty affordable. So. And then productivity, these are, you know, as far as productivity goes, these are just some tips that kind of can help you find your productivity, you know, find what helps you get in the zone. You know, for me, I'm a morning person. I like to work in the morning, so I get up, I get most of my work done very early in the morning, and I block out my days ahead of time to make sure that like the days that I'm most productive, which I already know what those are, I've identified those are my productivity days. Those are my project days. Those are the days that I've blocked off just to work on things that I need to work on for the business. Separating your process from the result, you know, putting our focus on the progress and not so much on, again, separating the process from the result. So really just, you know, it speaks for itself. I mean, you're just basically setting them apart so that you can make sure that you are productive and you're not just focused on one over the other. And then, you know, the next thing was, you know, putting your focus on the progress instead of, you know, I could talk all day about this, but like just basically putting your focus on the progress versus, you know, other things so that you can, you know, kind of measure and track where you're going and what you're doing. And then if you don't excel at it or you're not good at it, you can delegate it, you know, and you could delegate it to your team or delegate it, you know, to an outside resource, just to make sure that, you know, you're not focused on things that you're not good at. You know, I don't love processes, but there are people on our team that do love processes. I'm more of like the overall vision. You know, I like to brainstorm about my vision and what I want to see, but as far as like the step-by-step to get there, that's not something that I excel at. And so I might delegate those steps in order to get to the vision that I want. And then don't overcommit yourself. That can be very, very huge. And making sure that, yeah, you focus on you focus on, you know, the amount of things that you can focus on and not, you know, 100 different things.
Yeah, I notice that sometimes I overcommit in my day and I'm like, I'm going to get these 15 things done today. And then all of a sudden it becomes overwhelming and I get barely anything done. So it's better for me if I, you know, focus on 5 main things that I want to get done in a day or something like that. And it's just more manageable and easier to tackle and not so overwhelming. So I can get to them easier.
And then these are some of the productivity tools that we use or that we've seen work really well. Basecamp, which is great. I don't know what the fee is right now because we were grandfathered in. I want to say it's like maybe $99 a month, unless you were grandfathered in, and then I think it's like $30. Trello is free. That's a project management tool as well, which is really, really great, and it lays it all out for you. If you're a visual person, it's really awesome for visually, like how a project timeline looks. And then Toggle is really great for, you know, time tracking and making sure that you stay on track with things. So those are 3 really good ones. Asana is another one that we use and we've seen used work really well that people like. Monday.com, I don't know much about that, but that's another one. But there's tons, I mean, there's hundreds of productivity tools out there. It's just making sure that you are using the one that's best for your company.
Yes, and so staying motivated when working from home may be hard, again, with the different distractions and just a different environment. You're not in your workspace. It's harder to keep in work mode. But in addition to the things that I mentioned prior about having your workspace and your routine and things like that, you can start your day with the highest priority items to get out of the way. And so I know for me, if I get a big project done out in the morning, it's like an energy boost, and it also has a big weight off my shoulders, so I feel freer, like more free to do other tasks that come up. Accomplishing tasks in batches. So like we mentioned, you know, having that block scheduling and having certain things blocked out to do in certain times on your calendar. For instance, like having all your meetings in a day in a row. So we do back to back as much as we can. So it's not like you have a 2-hour gap, because then you're like, wait, can I focus on a task in that time, but then also be mindful of this meeting that's coming up? Like, it's hard to bounce back and forth between meetings and just solo tasks. So we like to batch things together, the calls and then other tasks that we want to do at once. And make sure to eat lunch. That's definitely something we've skipped over the years. It's like, whoa, it's now 2:00 and I don't know what happened to the time, but you can get lost in things too. So make sure you take breaks and eat, starting and ending on time. Like I said, the normal business day, keep that as much as you possibly can, and delegate where you can. So if the tasks, especially right now when we're all in scrambling mode a little bit, you really want to be focusing on the tasks that are, you know, growing the business, getting in front of your customers as much as possible, getting in touch with potential clients, thinking of different strategies of how you can get clients in the door right now. You don't want to be focusing on, you know, sending out that invoice that needed to go out. Obviously it needs to go out. So, you know, delegate that and things like that as much as you possibly can. And then you can focus on different ways to keep your business going and growing during this time.
Yeah, they say for every 60 minutes of work, you should give yourself a 10-minute break. So I try to practice that. I don't always do it, but anyway.
And we talked a little bit about this already, but a little bit more information about working with a remote team. Remember, you are on a team together. So it's not just a one-person show, and you need to be mindful of, you know, other people that are around and how things affect other people, and just keeping that in mind in a remote space is hard because they're not right in front of you, but they are still there. Having consistency in procedures around procedures and performance. So this is really good with having scopes of work written out, standard operating procedures, set expectations for roles, things like that. Make sure everybody is in the know of what they need to be doing, and that there's like consistency around that for each role. Building a level playing field. So make sure it's all communicated with everybody. So, you know, one person doesn't know the awesome way of doing things and the other person does. You know, make sure everybody knows, everybody's on the same page. Communicating expectations, like I mentioned, really important. Over communication. Change anything that's broken and fill in any gaps. So your team is really important for this. You can ask them for feedback. You can have one-on-one meetings, do surveys of how things are going, have like a round table with your team, see where things are falling short. If there's any holes, something can be streamlined, get their feedback, because they might know more than you do, because they might be in the things that, more than you are in the day, and then you can work to fix those. And utilize your team as the experts for procedure setup. Just like I said, getting their information is like where you can shine. Same with your clients. You can also get information from them, like, hey, how'd it go? How did it go? Like, what can we do better? We just want to serve you as best as possible. So just always getting feedback, and then adjusting where needed is really important. And working with your team as well, like coming to an agreement with them on what's the reasonable turnaround time, what's getting assigned to who, and who is available to help. And how can we ensure accountability in a virtual setting? And like we mentioned, the project management tools can be really helpful for all of this, because it can all be in one place. Somebody gets assigned the project, you know, it has a deadline, the communication's in there, everybody's held accountable in there pretty easily. And fostering transparency among your team. You know, be open about the expectations, like how you want to run, how you want to serve the clients, customers, about your culture, and how, you know, you bring people based on your culture and what you want to put out there in the world from your company. So everybody has the same understanding. Obviously, if it's confidential information, don't share that, but everything else, keep people in the loop. And give everybody equal time and equal opportunity. So, they're available to help you. Have them help. Whatever they need to do their job well, provide that with them and get feedback, like I mentioned before. And reward and recognize people. Lauren mentioned this a little bit earlier about doing incentives, which we do a lot with our team. You know, even just like a, hey, $5 Starbucks gift card because this client raved about you, and we'll tie it back to our values, and they over communicated, and so they were amazing, and so hey, here's a $5 gift card, or here's just a shout out on Slack. We do shout outs on Slack of our team all the time, just a little morale booster. It makes them feel good, that makes them feel recognized as doing their job well.
Yeah, and we can't do this right now because we're trying to, stay at home. But one thing that we've talked about also doing is like filling up a Starbucks gift card so that people can go and get it when they want. And then we're rewarding the team versus like individually as well. But yeah, all those things are really great for when you are working remotely. And then using the cloud, obviously this is probably pretty known, but just making sure you're storing your assets and things like that in a very secure, common location. We often find where a lot of people have some here and some there, and they're not organized and they can't find it. So just making sure that all those things are in one place, or if not one, hopefully one or two. But your operating procedures, your notes, any contracts, things like that. And then these are some of the file storing or sharing that programs that we've used or used. Dropbox is big, Box is also big, Google Drive. And a lot of them, actually all of them, I think can be updated in real time. So that's another good thing. Google Drive does make it fairly simple, but that's my favorite out of the three, but they all three are very good.
And one thing to just keep in mind as well, the cybersecurity around all your stuff. Make sure your passwords are protected. We use LastPass. There's also 1Password, I think, with this similar setup where you can store all your passwords that are private through a secure site that has a master password that you access them with. It's really easy. It actually makes it a lot easier to access the sites that you visit very often, because once you have it saved, it kind of like auto populates your login as long as you're logged into LastPass, and gets you right into the sites pretty easily. Using known, trusted, and secure apps and programs, like Lauren said, Dropbox, secure way to store any sensitive documents online. For signatures, for contracts, things like that, there's Adobe Sign, DocuSign, or HelloSign. And also just be really smart about using public Wi-Fi, something we don't think about very much. But using your personal hotspot from your phone is a little bit more secure than using like the public Wi-Fi that you might have around you at the time. Because anything public makes you a little bit more susceptible. It's a little bit less secure. So.
Yeah, and there are a lot of companies right now that are offering free or free for like a certain period of time, their services. So just keep that in mind when you are, looking for programs out there. I think Acrobat or Adobe Acrobat, I think they're offering some free things. There's also like a lot of free learning, like LinkedIn Learning is offering some free classes, things like that. So just be looking out for that when you are searching for technology to use during this time.
Okay, that's pretty much our spiel. Does anyone have any questions from what we spoke about today?
Can you describe one of your more favorite meetups, like a pizza party or maybe like a dog party, or I don't know, something?
Yeah, I would say that our pizza party was probably the biggest hit so far. We also have, we had holiday party, and we did like a Secret Santa. That was fun, where we had everybody send each other gifts, but you wouldn't open until our virtual party, and then we opened it, and everyone said who it was from. Let's see, like little coffee meetups, virtual coffee meetups we've had. We always bring our dogs in though. Like no matter, we don't have a specific dog party, but they always end up in the screen. But I kind of like that idea. Maybe we can have like a little specific dog party.
Okay, and last question, what does Vava Virtual Assistants do? It looks like you guys do things more than what you just showed us.
We do. So we provide administrative and marketing support for companies remotely. So everything is outsourced to us. So, your back office related tasks, essentially. So your scheduling, data entry, research, travel booking, pretty much anything under the sun that your administrative assistant would do, except for live answer phone calls. So we don't do that. And then on the marketing side, your digital marketing, so your social media, content creation, graphic design, email campaigns, like I said, all the stuff that kind of is on your plate, as a business owner, probably that maybe you can't get to or you don't have time to do, but you need to do, we can step in and help with that.
I'm sure we all get to everything and always have extra time, so probably.
Hey, I just wanted to add one thing under the cybersecurity piece is we require our team to have VPNs So we use NordVPN. Not that public Wi-Fi is going to be a big issue now, or shouldn't be anyway, but we require NordVPN for all of our folks, because on those public Wi-Fis, with the cybersecurity risk going up, they're becoming very, very active. So
Yeah.
Thanks so much for adding that. That's great. It's a great tip.
Or how many people do you have on your team?
we have 4.
4. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of, we've had several clients lose multi-millions on cybersecurity through Wi-Fi breaches, they believe.
Oh man.
Wow. Yeah, that's scary. All right. Anything else that anybody wanted to ask us?
How's everybody surviving?
Oh, I think Mike, are you? Hang
Mute
on.
for some reason. There we go. I was on mute for a while. No, I just wanted to say thank you for this presentation. I'm in the restaurant industry and out in the stores all the time. And I feel like the caged animal right now. I mean, sitting at home working is just something I've got to be around people, and it's my business every day. So thank you. I picked up a number of things here that I think will be very helpful. So I really appreciate it.
Of course. Of course.
Great.
Yeah. And Michael, where are you located again? Where did you?
Atlanta. In
Okay.
Atlanta.
Who are your? What's your restaurant?
I own a company called Rising Roll Gourmet Cafe.
Okay. Where is it located?
We have 11 locations in Atlanta, and we're mostly in Class A office buildings, but we're also on university campuses, 2 down in Florida, University of Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee. Georgia Tech is building a freestanding Rising Roll right now on campus that was supposed to open in April. Not sure about that, and we're getting ready to go on the Loyola of Chicago campus in August. So anyway, that's where we're at.
That's really cool.
Very awesome.
We held a virtual lunch the other day, and somebody shared. Do you remember the name of that website, Melanie? They shared where you can basically register your restaurant for free on the website, and people can go on and like purchase gift cards through there. I don't know if that relates to your business. I totally forget the name of the restaurant.
It was, let me find it. It was called, oh gosh, we're going to find it for you.
Artie
Great.
shared it if you go into the notes from that call.
Oh,
But
you already got it?
no, I don't have it. But
Oh.
I was saying Artie shared it.
Artie.
She'll find it.
I'm finding it. I'm looking through the notes right now. Oh, it's, I'm gonna put it in the chat here. Can you get to the chat, Mike?
Yes.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. It's called Cabbage with a K, but you can get to it through this website.
Great. Thank you so much.
Let me make sure that works.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah, we're really trying to encourage people to, shop local and buy local, and so we feel for you.
No, we really appreciate that. It is a tough time in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any other questions from anybody else?
You were good. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you, ladies.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining, and we really appreciate you all joining.
Yeah, if you have any other
Thank you.
questions that come up, feel free to email us over at info@babavirtual.com. We're happy to help in any way, just to have a call and explain how some things work. If you want, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, ladies, so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Take
Thanks so
care.
much for joining.
Bye-bye.